Hey guys, so let's jump right into it and start building our coils here. We're going to be doing a vertical dual coil setup like the description or the title says, and we're going to go ahead and start by wrapping the coils. And I'm using a drill bit to do that because that's what I use. So yeah, you can use something else, but I would recommend a drill bit. Alright, so we're wrapping the wraps around the drill bit, and you want to get these pretty close. That is pretty much just because we're making micro coils here, and the closer they are, well, they just work better. So we're doing that. I believe I did 5-6 wraps. Alrighty, and then when you're done wrapping the coils, you can just go ahead and scrunch them up to get the wraps as close as possible. We're going to heat it up once it's on the mod and squish them together with some pliers, but for now just squish them with your fingernails. Sorry about the autofocus, that's pretty crappy. And now we're just going to wrap the other one. Alrighty, so we've wrapped our other coil, and we're just going to keep that one on the drill bit so we can use the drill bit for rigidity so we don't mess up the coil whilst we're installing it there. So what you want to do is just go ahead and put the wires from either side of the coil and put them through the eyelets in the posts. Once you do that, just use the drill bit to hold the coil in place and go ahead and screw down the posts. You want to make this snug but not too tight as to cut the wire, because that would be bad right now. You want to go ahead and just leave those wires on there until later. Alright, then go ahead and do the other one. Just put it on the drill bit again so it doesn't get messed up. I got it backwards here, I just wanted to have the longer stem on the inside, so I went ahead and switched that around. Do the same thing, put the legs through the eyelets, and then use the drill bit to hold it there and tighten it down. Once you're satisfied with how both of the coils are sitting, go ahead and screw down the middle post, which, if you did it right, should have 2 legs going through it, one from each coil. Again, you don't want to make that too tight, but just snug it up. And then you can adjust the coils around, make them straight and very nice and vertical with the drill bit. I'm just going to go ahead and give those a little wiggle until they comply. And I'm going to go ahead and put this on my SVD so we can check the ohms. So I'm just going to go ahead and take it off of the mechanical mod and stick it on my endocrine SVD. And right about now you'll notice that the center pin on the SVD is pushed down too far and I'm not getting an ohm rating. So what I'm going to do is take off the IGO-W and pull that out a little bit. I'm just going to go ahead and use a flathead screwdriver happens is if you have a leaky mod like my ProTank version 2 did, then it gets sticky and it'll just stick right down there. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put the IGO-W back on the SVD. Should be nice and snug now, and it should give us an ohm rating. And we're reading 0.7 ohms, which is right about what we were looking for. And in my moment of stupidity, I forgot that the Anokin won't fire anything under 1.3 ohms, I believe. So in a moment I'm going to go ahead and try to fire it, and then I realize I'm stupid, and then I switch back over. But right now we're going to go ahead and clip the legs that are left over from the coils, just so that it's nice and neat before we go ahead and fire it. Generally a bad idea to have the legs on there when you're firing anyway. And right here I'm just bending up the remainder of the legs so that they aren't poking out at my wick eventually. Just going to go ahead and smash those up against the posts so that they're not dangling out there. And move it up to 10 watts and try to fire it, but that's kind of stupid. And I realized that in about 3 seconds. Oh, there it is. So we're going back over to the SmokeTech Magneto. Just gonna unlock the ring and give it a fire. See how they glow. And they're glowing just about perfect. The one on top is a little bit slower, but I think we'll be able to handle that. And now we're going to go ahead and heat it up and then squish it together so we can get some nice microcoils going on. We're going to do that to both sides eventually so that they're nice and even. And there we go, getting a nice even glow rather quickly, so I think we're going to accept that one. Getting frustrated with the autofocus and shaking it about. Now we're going to take a side view of the microcoils that we've built here. Looking pretty snazzy. I'm just going to go ahead and blow on that a little bit to cool it down before we start wicking. And always make sure to lock the mod before you start wicking or doing anything with the coils, because if it fires, yeah, that sucks. Alright, so I'm going to be using cotton for this. We're just going to go ahead and unravel some. What you want to do after you have about a 2-inch, maybe 3-inch length of cotton is just wind it up so that you can stick it through the coils. Sometimes I like to double back just so it's a bit thicker, and then you can wind it down again. Then once you do that, just go ahead and stick it through one of the coils. And you're probably going to need something to get it out from under the coil. I use pliers to try and grab that little tail so we can pull it through. Oftentimes that doesn't work though because it's too large, so I just get a little Allen key that came with my other re-buildable. Alright, we've got a good amount of a tail coming through now, so we can use the bigger pliers to yank that until we can get it to our fingers. Then once we get it to our fingers, we'll just wiggle it a bit and ravel up the top bit so it's a little tighter and will go through easier. Repeat that process until you get the bulk of the wick right onto the middle of the coil. And then once you do that, you can just cut off the wick or stuff it somewhere inside the deck. Or both. That's generally what I do, so that there isn't too much. You can just use the drill bit that you used for wrapping in coils to just go ahead and stuff that extra wick down in there. And as for the top, that's too much, so we're going to go ahead and cut that. Make sure you have some good scissors to do that. And then just tidy up the wick a bit. Make sure it's filling the coil completely so it doesn't have any gaps there, because that creates a lot of heat and probably unbearable. And there we go, we have one of the wicks. And I didn't realize this at the time, but when I wicked this, I left the top a bit too tall, so it hit the little hole for the drip tip in my IGO-W cap. So what you want to do is just stuff that down a little bit so you don't have gurgling and you're getting a whole bunch of juice in your mouth, because that's not fun. So we're going to repeat the process for the other coil. Again, you just want to get a good 2 or 3 inch piece and stick it through there. And again, just give it a bit of a wiggle and twist the top side so it fits through until you get the bulk of the cotton into the middle of the coil. And this time I left too much on the bottom, so we're going to go ahead and cut that off. And the top again. Just like before, we're going to go ahead and stuff the wick that's on the bottom. And on the top, we just want to fold over onto the posts. Now, I didn't do that in the video because I hadn't realized it yet, but that's what you want to do. And there you have it, the wicked coils. We're going to go ahead and put some juice on there, and I'm going to use Apple Jacks from Epic Juice. Just go ahead and drip a whole bunch on there. I wouldn't worry too much about over dripping the first time because you just want to saturate the wicks, and you can just burn it off without the cap on there. So just get the entire wick saturated, and then later on when you're dripping, you just have to drip on the one spot and it'll flood the rest of the wicks. And that looks pretty good, so we're going to go ahead and unlock it and give it a test burn. And that's looking pretty good. I do believe that my battery is dead though, so we're going to go ahead and put a different one in there. Ignore the tape, that's just so that particular battery doesn't rattle. And there we go, getting a whole lot more vapor. Can't really see in that light, but it is pretty good. Alright, so you just saw the process of building these two vertical coils and wicking them with cotton, so let's go ahead and try it. And I need to adjust the top cap because I'm getting some gurgling. So we're going to put that there. Decent, decent. Yeah, we need to juice that some more, getting some dryness. Okay. and there is juice stuck in my drip tip. That's the problem. Okay. Alright, here we go. Pretty good dual coil setup there. And my air conditioner is going, so I can't blow any rings or anything. Alright, there you have it. Thanks for watching that. If you like it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and leave any comments if you want to see anything else. I think I covered everything, but if you want to see the things I used, then I'll follow up with that. And if I did anything wrong, let me know, because that is very likely to happen. Thanks.